he heard a song that I wrote for my wife for my wedding, and he came to my house. He asked me if I wanted to write, and I said sure. I never have, but sure. And he came to my house the next day, and I was upset. Ever since that day, I was obsessed. We wrote.
Hey,
check,
Drew.
Check. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. How y'all doing?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you doing this today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little late. I was kind of cleaning up my area. I didn't get home till like late last night. We shot a little music video.
Oh, cool.
I was late. Yeah.
Yeah. No worries at all. I love your sign behind you. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Do you want? Is the lighting all right? We're good.
Yeah, you look good. Looks great.
All right, perfect. I'm gonna put myself on mute and let y'all take it away.
That's
sweet. Well, thank you so much, Caitlin.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing real well. I love I'm just mesmerized by your flooring is purple and you got, the keyboard next to you. I love what you got going on in that room. It's awesome.
It's kind of my gaming room. It's where I'm a big gamer, so I game a lot. But
oh, cool.
It's my studio. I got I write in here sometimes, but it's just got a vibe. I can change the colors too.
Oh, that's dope. That's awesome.
It depends on what mood I'm in.
You were in a purple mood earlier, now blue. But
purple's kind of my vibe. Yeah,
I like the purple. Look cool. Rad, dude. Well, thank you. My name is Adam, and this podcast is about you, your journey in music, and we'll talk about the new music you have coming out. And now I'm curious about this music video that you shot as well. If you want to tell us about that a little later as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was fun.
Cool, man. It's born and raised in Tennessee here, right?
Yes, sir. McMinnville, Tennessee, about an hour and a half southeast of Nashville.
What was it like growing up there?
It's nothing but trees, man. It's the nursery. It's the nursery capital of the world. So it's just a lot of farms and trees and
you grew up in a nursery, right? Didn't you grow up doing that?
Yeah. I grew up on a farm, on a tractor. Did a lot of tractor work when I was a kid, and it was that's kind of where I fell in love with country music, just listening to the radio.
Okay, while working.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that kind of got me the dream wanting to sing for a living. Yeah.
Okay. What about like anyone else musical in your household?
My dad can sing and a little bit. My mom is not. She can't sing at all, but my dad can a little bit. He can play guitar, and I think he played like in a little rock band when he was younger. But
did he ever show you?
Definitely my dad.
Okay. Did he show you anything at all? Like when you were learning?
No, not really. I took lessons one day, and the guy that gave me lessons was like narcoleptic, and he fell asleep. He fell asleep while he was giving me lessons. I was like 14. I called my mom. Was like, "Mom, you have to come get me."
Like, I think this guy's dead.
The guy just fell asleep. Like he's sleeping. I don't think he's dead, but he's sleeping. And then, yeah, I mean, he was like just weird. And so I took one lesson, and it did not go well. And so I just taught myself.
Oh man, that's amazing. So, was guitar your first instrument?
Yeah, that's about my only instrument. I can play a little bit of piano, but other than that, I'm just guitar.
And how old were you when you learned guitar, or like pre this lesson?
14, 15. I started really, like 9th grade.
Okay. And were you writing songs quickly after that, or was
I wrote my first song in 9th grade, but I don't think I wrote another one until college.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 9th grade you wrote one song, and then from there on, were you just playing and learning other people's music?
Just learning. Yeah, I was in a rock band, like a grunge, kind of like Breaking Benjamin, Nirvana, Puddle of Mud, Incubus type band. I was actually not even a singer. I was the rhythm guitar player. But,
okay.
Yeah, and we were good too, man. We played like Tennessee Battle of the Bands. We played with Taylor Swift one time.
Did you really?
Yeah, she was 12. She was like 12, and she might have been like 14, but I was probably 18 at this time.
That's so wild.
My last year of high school, yeah.
So did she have records out or anything, or was it this like? No. This sounds like she was like very young, very early on.
Right, she was very, very, very new. And we played somewhere, and it might have been, I'm not sure where it was, the Grand Ole Opry or somewhere, like this.
No way.
We got like top 3, and it was all rock bands, but I'm not sure where it was. I can't remember where it was. Somewhere in Nashville, and they had this awesome green room though. I remember sitting in there listening. She was before us. She got fourth and we got third. And so
now you can hold that. You can hold that up forever, right? We were in this battle of bands.
Yeah,
Maybe Taylor Swift.
Yeah, and we're listening to her on the thing, and I was like, man, it is packed out there. Like there was just people there. There were people singing her songs, and it was Tim McGraw, and it was like literally a month before, like she really blew up. Yeah, and
oh wow, so she was playing the song Tim McGraw, and people knew it. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
I was like, I don't know, but I think she's got some fans. Like she's got some people here to see her, and then she got done. And it was our turn to go on stage, and it just like cleared out. Like there was no way, because we didn't have any fans. You know, we were just a band from McMinnville, and
well, yeah, she was playing hometown show for the most part.
Everyone was there to see her. It was awesome. It was cool to see how big. You know, she walked backstage. She had all these cameras on her, and I was like, I was like, well, it's gonna be crazy when we get done. Like, it's gonna be, you know, there's gonna be cameras. There's gonna be stuff everywhere. Because I didn't know any better. You know, I just thought like, I was like, wow, I'll bet the guy who wins first gets like all kinds of people on him.
Wow. No, but that's nuts that she didn't even win, but with the crowd and the camera ops and everything else.
Yeah, it was sponsored by like Ernie Ball strings, and it was a rock show, you know.
Sure. That's so crazy though. That's awesome. So that band, you weren't writing, you were just playing guitar?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of, and I did write a little bit with the singer, but I just love music, man. I love all kinds of music.
So did you go to college to pursue music or something completely different?
No, I pursued business, and then I met my wife, and my wife was a nurse, and she had a year left, and I was done. So I was like, I changed my major to finance. So I graduated with a finance degree. So I'm like a finance degree, and I'm like one class short of a business degree. But,
ever think about going back or no?
Absolutely not.
Yeah. I love that. Great answer. Were you going to college in Nashville or?
I went to Tennessee Tech in Cookeville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I was in a fraternity. I probably learned more in fraternity than I did in school. I didn't.
Sure.
Started singing downtown at Tootsie's, Nashville.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah, tell me about how you got that, because that's like, I mean, that place is obviously legendary. To get a gig there, you know, a frequent gig playing there. That's so crazy.
I'm a pretty lucky dude, I feel like sometimes, but like this was like the most lucky. This is really how I got my start. I guess I was in Cookeville. It was back to school. Like I had my stuff still in my truck, like loaded up to go, you know, to my room. And it was like trivia night at this bar that we all used to go to. All my fraternity brothers would go to, and we would drink and eat wings. And they had real good wings. And I'd been drinking a whole lot, and this guy came in, and he wanted to hear live music. And the owner knew me a little bit because we would go in there a lot. I don't think I was 21 yet. I think I had a fake ID, to be honest. So I think my fake ID's name was David. The owner comes and was like, "Hey, David, you know any songs?" You know, I'm like, yeah. And so I got up there and I played a few songs. And I mean, I was pretty drunk, I think, but I played a few songs. The guy walks over there and he's like, "Hey man, I own Tootsie's downtown." It was Steve, the guy that owns it all, you know, and he was real drunk.
Yeah, he's like, "You sound amazing." You're both hammered.
Good buddies now. We're really good buddies. He's like, "I want you to play at my bar." He's like, "You're gonna get a call at 9 a.m. if you want to." And I thought he was just, you know, it's midnight. I thought he was crazy, you know, but I got a call at 9:01, and it was his son. His son called me and was like, "Yeah, can you come in today at 11?" And I was in Cookeville, which is like right about an hour and 45 minutes away from Nashville. I was like, "Yeah, I'll be there." And so I literally just put on my boots and got in the truck and left, and just didn't go to school that day. And I walked in thinking it'd be like an interview, you know. I was pretty excited. I've never been downtown Nashville, really. And I walked in, and this old man walks up to me and was like, "You ready, cowboy?" And I was like, "I guess." And he just threw me up on the stage right then, like literally, like just like tossed me up on the stage. And it was like 11:15 or 11:20, and there was, you know, people eating lunch and stuff, and maybe 20 people in there. They're like, all right, what do you want to play? And they just like the lead singer walked off, and I just started playing with this house band. And I did like Sweet Home Alabama, Crazy Town, Aldine, and Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy, I think. But then I played one more, and I messed up on one of them. And I remember being like, oh, I'm done. This is never going to happen, you know?
Right.
And he's like, play one more. And somebody came up and requested some Billy Currington, I think. And I played, you know, Good Directions or Turnip Greens, whatever you want to call it, by Billy Currington. And it went over great. Like everybody sort of stood up and clapping, and it sounded real good. And I knew I'd kind of like, that's what, and right then is when I got like the bug, like I got to do this for a living, you know, like, and they asked me, I got off the stage and he asked me if I could come back that night at 6. And I was like, oh, I guess I got the gig. And I was like, yeah, but do y'all have like a set list? Because I know like 5 songs. You know, I was on my last song right there.
I was gonna ask you that, like, because the people that play in there are playing for hours, right? Like, so you
Yeah,
have to go in there with like a.
I knew I could get through 5 country songs. Like, I couldn't get through. I could get through 5 songs, period. Like, you know, verbatim. But luckily, I remember songs really fast. So I just went to my truck and I sat there till 6 o'clock and learning songs. And I got through the night. There was another singer with me that night, so a girl singer, and she was really sweet and helped me. You know, I didn't have to sing as much, but I did that for about 6 months. Was failing, you know, college because I was singing every day at 11 o'clock or 2 o'clock. You know, like the morning shifts, learning, and then eventually, I was just like, you know, this is not worth it. 'Cause I'm driving 4 hours a day.
Right. 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
I'm not making enough money because I was playing the early shift. So I was paying for my gas, you know, really. And so I quit and just kept playing. And in Cookeville, I still played all the bars there. And I really gained a huge following at this bar called Spanky's, which was on campus. And I became the country singer of my college, really. I mean, I gained a really big following and I fell in love with it. And so I quit music altogether when I graduated and got a banking job. I was a banker for 2 years. And I knew I'd been talking about it with my wife about playing, you know, continue. I still played at Spanky's, you know, even after college, like once a month, I'd go down there and play.
So when you're doing those shows at Spanky's, were you also playing original songs or was it just covers at that point?
I had maybe 3 songs that I had wrote. I really wasn't into the writing. The writing took a really long time for me to really, I guess I'm still very picky. So it took me a long time to write a song by myself that I really liked. But no, I was playing mostly covers, and I recorded a little EP of the 4 songs that I had ever written. and I sold like 2,000 of them. Like in college, I had a really big following, and I thought that was a lot, you know. So
that is a lot.
Like, you know, I might can do this. I might can do this for, you know, a living if I've got this big of a following at this little, you know, tech campus like this. And my wife was 100% on board with it, and I'd been working at the bank for a year and a half, and I just got promoted to like manager and trainer. I was going to have my own branch and everything. Like I was 24. So like at a really young age, you know, and I enjoyed the bank. I was good at it, and I liked it, the social aspect of it. But I quit. I walked up there to the boss's office and told him straight up, you know, that was what I was doing. He supported it, and I'm still friends with the bank. And I called back up Tootsie's, and he remembered. It'd been 2 years since the Tootsie's thing, and he remembered me, and he said, "Hey, cowboy," and I don't know how he remembered me. I guess he still had my number saved. And I walked into like the best gig down there. Like there was somebody that just called out that day or something, and I walked into the 6 o'clock gig on the 2nd floor of Tootsie's, and I stayed there for 4 years, man. I mean, he kept me. The drummer was kind of the band leader at the time. He was an older guy. He played there like 12 times a week or something, you know, just making. I mean, you make 6 figures down there if you play that much.
Do you really? I mean, yeah, that place is always rocking, and wow.
And so I fell in love with it and fell in love with entertaining. And I met a guy named Hunter Phelps, who's a huge songwriter and probably the biggest songwriter as of today, I think, right today. And he heard a song that I wrote for my wife for my wedding, and he came to my house. He asked me if I wanted to write, and I said, sure. I never have, but sure. And he came to my house the next day, and I was upset. Ever since that day, I was obsessed. We wrote a good song that day. And I think we wrote a bunch of good songs ever since then. We wrote every day for a year, and I loved everything we did together. And I'm actually fixing to cut a song that he wrote, sent to me recently, so I'm excited.
Wow. Whoa. So you played a song that you had written?
Yeah, full circle.
Yeah. So you wrote a song for your wife for your wedding? Is that what you said?
For sure, yeah.
That's so awesome.
Actually, it was like 2 days before my wedding, and one of my groomsmen was like, man, what'd you write for the reception? Did you write like a wedding song? And I was like, no. And he's like, dude, you're a singer. You gotta write a song. And I was like, dude, you're right. And so I sat down and I wrote it like 30 minutes. And it's still one of my favorite songs too. Like, it's just real as it gets. It's called Try. I haven't put it out yet, but maybe one day.
That's so cool.
Some people think I should still put it out, but
I think you should. That's what a powerful song.
That's good.
That's so cool. And so did you play it? You went up there on the reception and played it for her?
I played it, surprised her. Yeah. And everybody in the freaking room's crying. She's just sitting there like, nah, she's just like completely stoned which my wife is that way. She's heard so many songs I've wrote. She's heard so many, she's been here since day one. So she's heard every song, which is, over 1,000 now for sure. And she's just, not dull to it, but it's like, she knows that I'm a songwriter for a living, that I can manipulate a song into, somebody else might be crying, but she's like, I see what he did there,
She sees her. She's like,
sees
I see this.
Yeah, she knows.
Oh, wow. That's cool though. I mean, how cool and how special, especially, I mean, you have everyone crying in the audience. It must have been a real powerful song.
It was great. It was good.
Wow. And you got what would you say, like, after writing with this person for a year, you said you guys wrote songs for a year straight.
Yeah.
Was there like a cut that you got, or a moment that kind of continued on, or did you get picked up by a publisher or something? What was like the first?
Well, it's actually like perfect right into the next segue of like we wrote for a year, and he signed with Ashley Gorley, who's on paper has the most #1 written songs in the country ever. And so
wow.
He signed with Ashley, and Ashley's awesome. And I was like, wow, that's like the biggest publishing deal you can sign probably. And I was a year behind Hunter already, and he had a bunch of friends, and I was making a lot of friends too, writing songs. And me and Hunter met with one of his good buddies, was Michael Hardy. And we were at a bar after we'd all wrote one day, and I had this idea that I'd had for a year. I'd pitched it around, nobody liked it, and that's about like the last idea I had in my phone at the time that I thought was worth writing. And I pitched this idea out while we were all drinking at Brewhouse West, and Hardy loved it. And we went to Hunter's house. He lived right next door, so we went to Hunter's house and we wrote it. And it was a song called Colorado, which happened to be my first cut with FGL.
Yeah, that's huge.
And so that's what kind of got me into the publishing world. I signed a publishing deal, which was great because I'd always wanted to sign with Brett James at Corman. I'd met with him, 2 years before that moment. And I remember coming home 2 years before that. So I told my wife, I was like, if I ever get the opportunity to sign with anybody, I want to sign with Brett. I feel like something my gut tells me to sign with Brett. I don't know why. And because I'm not saying they're all the same, but you kind of get the same. You don't really know. When you're meeting, when you have a 15-minute meeting with the publisher, they're all the same,
Right, right. Everyone's telling you what you want to hear, right, I'm sure.
Right, yeah. And so my gut told me to go with him, and I met back up with him, and I signed my publishing deal with him. And then a year later, I just asked him if he wanted to get breakfast because I hadn't met with him in a while, and wanted to show him some songs that I planned on pitching to, like, Kenny Chesney or some of the ends that we had at our company. And he's like, man, I think you're ready. He listened to all of them in my truck and was like, I think you're ready for a record deal if you want one. And we never talked about it. I signed a week later with Sony. It was pretty in Bill of 40. So it was pretty Pretty crazy.
Wow.
How fast how from the publishing deal guy who was going home being like, I gotta get more cuts. I gotta figure something out because this just ain't working. Like, I mean, I ain't making, I'm broke. And
right.
I'm gonna have to go back to the farm probably. Like, it's what I was in my head. What was
Yeah.
Go back to the bank or go back to the farm. And
so when you sign the record deal, I mean, how does that differ just for people listening from having the publishing deal? Because if if you have a publishing deal, you're helping write songs and pitching them for other people, correct? And then with you're signed to a label, you're putting out music as an artist.
You become the artist, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's all that they care about is you as the artist. You're not. I'm still a songwriter, and I still have my deal, because I'm signing my publishing with Cornman and Warner Chappell. So my deal is tied to my artist deal now, in a way of like, I got to put out this many songs and do this to get paid, you know, which makes sense. But you know, technically, when you sign the deal, you actually just get more broke because
they're like, here's some money that you have to pay us back.
You know, it's an investment. It's an investment. You know, and it's a dream. That's why they call it a dream, because it's a crazy investment that most people, that logistics and paper and somebody would say you're dumb if you do this. And I am dumb. You know, I'm crazy as hell, and I'm obsessed with country music, and that's why that's why they call it the dream, because not many people get that chance. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean, to have that, not many people get that chance, but then not many people that get that chance. That, like, I've heard that as somebody told me that's the seat at the table, right? You went from the children's table, now you're at the table with everybody else, but now it's what are you going to do while you're there?
Table with everyone else. There's still, you know,
right.
Everybody at the table is bigger than you are, and everybody
you get to the table.
You just now got to the table. Yeah.
You're at the table, and now you have to provide, right? Yeah. So, I mean, tell me about. So you're there, and like, you must have been kind of nervous, or like, you know, you had written a song that became a hit with Florida Georgia Line, but now you have to present a song, put it out as Drew Green, and then make that a hit. Like, was that something that was in the back of your mind, and tell me when did that happen for you?
Well, heck yeah, I was nervous. I was meeting with the biggest label guys in Nashville that I'd heard. You know, I'd heard stories about 6 years before this happened. You know, I'm like, dang, you know, it'd be a dream to meet with them. Or like, you know, you dream about but even when you're 12 years old sitting on a tractor, like, whenever that day comes, I'm gonna do this, you know, or whenever that day comes, it's gonna be like, you know, and nothing happens the way you want it to. You know, I mean, I was, like I said, my record deal kind of happened in a week. So I met with Sony on Wednesday and had some. When I say I met with Sony, I met with like an A&R. At the time was Jim Catino, and I had a couple beers at a bar with him, and he was into it. He was like, "Well, I just signed a lot of people, and we're not going to be able to get to Drew Green for a long time, but we want to sign you." And I was like, "Well, I'm out. I don't want. Okay, let's go visit somebody. Let's go see somebody else." He said, "But we just signed a merger deal with Justin Timberlake, who owns Villa 40." And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, right.
Justin Timberlake, and he's like, "Yeah," and which obviously I'm a huge fan of. And it's like, if you can get Justin on board, then we can push you straight to the top of this list, and, you know, really focus on you. And I was like, well, that ain't gonna happen. Justin Timberlake ain't gonna like my country ass, that's for sure, you know. And so either way, we met with Joe Fisher, who's the head of his company here in Nashville, and they loved it, and they sent the stuff to Justin, and Justin approved. And this was on a Thursday, and we drank beer. Like, we drank a bunch that night. It was probably 11 o'clock. Headed home, and Brett's like, it's going to be 3 months probably before we hear anything about this. And then he called me back 30 minutes later and was like, "Hey, we want you to play at Sony. They want you to play at 8 a.m. in the morning for Sony." And I was like, "What?" I was like, no, there's no way. We've been drinking for 2 days.
Right.
I haven't had any practice at what I'm going to sing as being an artist. I'm a songwriter, so I don't even know half the songs that I've wrote. I'm with the track guy. I don't even know how to play. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to play, you know? And so he's like, "Meet me at Cornman at 7 a.m. I was like, that's an hour before Brett. That is not long enough. But we met at 7, and I wrote a song that week called Dirt Boy that just, I don't know. Once again, my gut told me to play it. And I played it for Sony that day and for Brett that day. Nobody had heard it. Nobody. I mean, nobody gave me the okay. I just did it.
Wow.
And they stopped me halfway through it and gave me like a verbal deal, you know, kind of like a, you know, offer.
That's
and
crazy.
It was cool. It was emotional. It was awesome. It was like the dream. And I think that answers your question. I'm not sure.
No, definitely. That's crazy. That's so awesome. So yeah, so you get a deal, and then obviously you went from the table to now you're invited outside, you know, after the table. You were at the table, and then you proved yourself.
Luckily, being a songwriter, we had so many songs in the pile of songs that we need to record, songs that we want to get out there, songs that Sony was like, yes, this is a great song. They've basically just gave me the reins and saying, Drew, go do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Like when it comes to recording, just because we've recorded and wrote so many songs already. I have so many demos, whereas most, not in a bad way, but a lot of guys who are getting record deals have one song. And sometimes, in some ways, that goes to hurt me a little bit. Because it's like, well, which song do we go with Drew? I don't know. They're all like this, you know. So in some days I feel like that might hurt me, but then at the end of the day, it's like, you know, it's all about my saying is it's all about the song, and the song will take you as far as it wants to. And so I'm continuing to believe in that and letting my songs do the work for me in a way of I've put all my work in a room in a box writing for 6 years, and that paid off to get me here. And I'm just going to keep letting that song do its job. You know, that's my word. You know, I don't know how far that'll take me, but that's what I'm going to try to do.
Well, no, I think that's a great point that or something interesting that you just said, because I was going to ask you about that. Because you'll have, you know, Good Old Man, the newest one that you've released, right? It had that TikTok success, right? Then it blew up on TikTok. But there's a lot of people that are doing that, or not a lot of people are doing that, but there's artists that's happening for. And then the A&Rs and the labels are like, hey, you know, you did this thing, but then they're the person that you just described as, okay, you have this one song. Well, now
you just move to town. You know, it's crazy.
You've been grinding it out. You have like a catalog of songs that have millions of streams on them prior to that.
Yeah.
And then that happens. And so you kind of were already, you had the back catalog and the songs and the experience in this industry to when that landed, when that happened for you, it was just like, oh, cool. Like that's the song, like that's a song. It did it. But you already, you know, you didn't land in that position with nothing. Like you aren't like, oh, now what am I going to do? Like, I don't know how to, like, I had that one thing that worked. Do I just keep doing that, or what do I try?
Right. I didn't have to deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is incredible. But seeing that, like, I'm just curious, tell me about the success of having that happen and with that TikTok song, or it's not a TikTok song, but the video.
Right. It's funny because with TikTok, it's about a moment, which is awesome. You know, it creates a moment. And as a songwriter and artist and someone who put, you know, all that work into the song that made that moment, you want everybody to hear it from A to Z. You want everybody to, you know, get that goosebumps and their hair stand up and that feeling. That's the dream. You know, that's what we do it for. And whenever TikTok blows up a song with one line, which we planned, which was our idea, like it wasn't like it was TikTok's fault or anybody's fault. Like it was, you know, I got a gift from God sitting in the back seat. And I'm going to need to be a little better if he's going to want to be like me. And that's the only line that we had the first one that blew up, like the millions of the things, like a 6-something million, and which is crazy. And
what a beautiful line.
And at the time, you know, it was all accidental. You know, it was all accidental. Like we thought that was a cool way to start the league. We didn't know that it was going to do what it did. And like my point is that, you know, people hadn't even heard the chorus yet, you know, like drop it, you know, the song's called Good Old Man. Everybody's like, drop Gift from God's the best song ever, you know. And it's like, man, y'all ain't even heard it yet. Like, I don't even like, are we really going to put all of our faith in a line of the song, like praying that the rest of the song is good enough to do it? You know, and it's challenging for not just me, it's every artist right now on TikTok, of seeing the artist, like still being an artist on it, you know, and not a content creator. There's a difference, you know, and and everybody does it different. Everyone does it different, and there's a lot of ways to do it because it's so new and fresh. And it's definitely the stage right now. The TikTok is definitely the stage for us right now, and and I'm just happy. I didn't even have a TikTok when I signed my record deal. I think I was probably the last artist they signed that didn't have that. A big portion of them signing them was because of TikTok now, like, and I had zero, and so immediately, because COVID hit a month after I signed my record deal, so I didn't have a TikTok, and so it was like,
right. Well, TikTok really blew up.
Here's a phone, go get
yeah.
famous on TikTok. And it's like, what? So I went to that challenge. Like, well, no, I'm not dancing. Nobody wants to see me dance. That's for sure. Sure. So it's like, what are we gonna do? So I just posted the easiest thing possible, and it worked. Thank God. I became, I think, the first guy singing his truck onto, just like just singing in his truck, and it worked. And that's part of my algorithm or whatnot now. So thank God it was easy, really
sure.
easy.
But wow, yeah, it's interesting that you just had the one line on TikTok. I can think of 2 other artists off the top of my head that had huge hits from there, where they just they were just testing out a piece of a song, right, or like and then it was like it did really well, and then now they're like, oh well, I better get to the studio to like write like a second verse.
Yeah, I gotta finish it. Like, most of my stuff is already done, but it wasn't recorded yet, like
Sure. Wow. Well, that's so cool. And then with the video for the song, you were having fans and stuff submit photos with their kids, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. I just got it back 2 days ago too. We're doing like a little Father's Day video for it,
I love that.
That's the first time I got really emotional with it. Actually, I mean, it's about my son. I wrote it for, but at the same time, it's a happy song. Like I said about my wife. I'm a songwriter. I've been doing this for a long time, so it's kind of, you get jaded from the emotional side of it sometimes. You start thinking about the money side of it or whatnot. But after seeing all of these people that turned in videos and pictures, we didn't even get to use them all. So it's like, it's a 3-minute long song, and every 2 seconds it switches, and it's like that many people turned in pictures and videos, and it's just really I guess the first humbling, like, surreal feeling I've had as an artist. It's like, wow, like, I'm growing as an artist. I've got a lot of people that love my music, and it's a cool feeling.
Yeah, it's so. I mean, it's such a beautiful song, and like for me as a father, also, like I heard it, and I'm like, oh man, like this is so. The lyric or the line that you just sang, that was the TikTok, the piece that did well on TikTok. Right. I mean, like that's like. It's so relatable to so many people, and the way you presented it was just like so brilliant. And I saw that you were accepting the photos, and I was like way too late. I'm like, oh man, I would have totally sent a video or photo with my kid. Well, that's cool that it's coming out on Father's Day. What a special thing to
I think it is special. That way they can, somebody can show their kid that when they get old enough to see it. They probably won't even understand it right now. It's like Levi, my son's 4, and he knows he was in the video, for it, and he loved it too. He's always like, Dad, when can we shoot another video? He don't know what that means, but he doesn't know what it is yet. He just knows that's his song. And so, but one day he will, and it'll be cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And you said you were shooting another video last night?
Last night we had the band down there. So I grew up on a lake, like next to a lake. So I grew up on a farm. So in order for my parents not to work on the weekends or work all the time, we would go down to Center Hill Lake, where we had a houseboat down there. Cool. And we brought a video crew down there to the houseboat and my band, and we just shot on top of the houseboat, like going down the lake,
Oh, so it was actually the houseboats that you grew up with.
Yeah, and so we're on top of it, and we're just going. My dad and mom came, and then they drove. My dad drove, and we just shot a video. We shot like 5 songs, like just some content. It's gonna be cool, man. It looks awesome. Incredible. Yeah, it almost looks like a green screen because it was like sunset, the mountains and the water, and it doesn't look real. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see that. And I'm excited for Sunday with this video coming out for Father's Day. Oh, wow.
It is a Sunday. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, isn't that wild? I know it's flying by. But thank you so much for doing this, Drew. I really appreciate your time today.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Sorry if I rambled a little bit. I ramble.
No. That's the whole point of this podcast. That's what I love about it. I did radio for 17 years, and it's awesome. Cut everybody off in 3 minutes. Oh, talking too long. Shut them up. But no, this is
I'll talk.
Platform for artists to tell their story, and I love hearing it. And you have such a cool journey, and I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I do have one more quick question for you.
Yeah, cool.
Do you have any advice for aspiring artists?
In my world, it's a little bit different. I would just say, if you want to be an artist, it's a long road no matter what, and it's going to be a long. If you want to be an artist, you want to be an artist for a long time too. You want to be in the game for a long time, and the only way I would say to do that now is to write some of your own songs, or at least figure out what your sound is. You could be the best singer. I'm not even close to the best singer at all, but I found something that I was good at writing songs and making my own sound out of my songs. And it's a lot of trial and error of thinking, when you think you got it, you'll do something way cooler, and you'll say, this is it, this is me. And I think there's just a lot of people who are the best singers I've ever heard, and they don't have a clue what their sound is because they're just a good singer. They think it's just going to happen, or they're just waiting on someone to come up to them and tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I want to sign you to a record deal. And that's just not how it works anymore. And you hear stories about that. Not saying that it won't happen to you, and I pray to God it does. I wish everybody the most success in the world. But I think writing your own songs and being true to yourself and finding yourself is the most important thing to do, especially if you're just inspiring to be an artist and you're not. Hey, I would say move to Nashville. If you want to be a country music singer, move to Nashville. That's where there's three little streets. It's a small town. It's huge, but it's a small town when it comes to the music industry, and we're all here, and it's really hard to do it somewhere else. Bringing it backward.